Okay, welcome to Derbyshire Arts Word, and here with me on the sofa, or the cheap-looking chairs of the Strutt Centre, are the director of the forthcoming production of OliverTwist at the Strutt Centre, Larry Waller.
Hello.
And we also have Fagin, otherwise known as Paul Davies.
Hello.
Proprietor of Time and Again on King Street in Belper. It's great to see you both here. Thanks for taking time out of rehearsals to speak to Arts Word. Tell us, Larry, this is your... I've lost count of the number of productions you've directed in Belper. It must be at least on a hand, if not two hands by now.
It's a bit more than that, I think.
Okay, so just tell us a bit. This is something really big, something new, something different for you. Tell us about the biggest challenge you've had trying to put this on a stage with these kids.
Well, the first thing was getting a script from the original text in a way that allowed us to kind of play around with it so that we could make it different.
What do you mean by different? What is it?
Well, the language is still predominantly Dickens. I don't think you could do anything else but do that. But there are some small changes, but it's then modernising it in a context, contextualising it and putting it in today. So we've got things like, there's one particular individual who wants to buy a child, so he takes a picture of him on his phone. So there's a kind of creepy connotation to that. What's he going to do with that picture? Where's it going to go?
That must be really hard to be able to, in this day and age, to be able to tackle that kind of an issue. What do you do to try and balance the concerns you might have about an audience watching that and your requirements of the performance and the production?
Well, there's a lot there about the mindset of the actor to take the risk to try and find a modern day character that's equivalent to the Dickens character, and then they're saying the words, but they're kind of saying them in a way that is landing in a modern context. The fact that we're talking about stuff that's quite contentious or difficult or illegal, ultimately we're talking about child trafficking when you kind of boil that down. It's a suggestion. We're not making it implicit. We're not saying that's what Mr. Sowerby is a child trafficker or Fagin is a child trafficker. We're saying that this still happens today. Look at what was happening then, look what's happening now. Are we that far away? Have we developed very much? Don't think so.
And was that hard for you to do, Paul? You've played a lot of characters. Is this how does this rate in terms of challenges to yourself?
I like playing the villains. They're always a challenge, but in a good way. And it's nice to play a character that's so far removed from your own personality. It gives you a lot more to work with, a lot more to work through. I don't think it's been a particular big challenge because the script's nice, it flows. It's the kids, working with the kids has been great, so it seems to have evolved quite easily, I think. But the issues that we're covering, I mean, I said from the off when I knew it was being put into a modern setting that I felt personally that Fagin should be played with some ambiguity of one foot in the realms of child abuse. And it's that, because I think, well, if a guy, an old criminal in his 50s is taking young children off the street and housing young children in this contemporary setting, then is there something more? Is there something underlying that, just using them to pickpocket him for criminal activity? What else is this old Fagin character getting out of his relationship with these kids? So it's very ambiguous, but we do sort of hint at that very subtly.
Very subtly. Play. Just to reinforce that.
Yes.
Very subtly.
Yes, it is.
Because it's not left in any way of you going, oh, okay, oh, that's really unpleasant.
Yeah.
There's a kind of, you're putting a play on and there's little messages that we're trying to drop in that would make people go, oh yeah, this is more that.
You've got to kind of leave it to the audience to take whatever they want away from this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to just to seat it in that modern setting, because I think that, since as human beings, the only thing that's really changed since Victorian times is technology. All the other the human, the vile side of human nature, the unfortunate side of society, all that sort of thing is still happening in certain ways.
And this is not Lionel Bart. This is not a musical.
No, this is Dickens, and I think that's really important to hold on to, because Dickens wrote a book that's this thick. We're putting a play on that is 2 40-minute acts.
Yeah.
You know, you won't get all of the story, so we're picking a story and narrating much and driving that story through, and the narrative takes us all the way through the journey. And what's really interesting is we've got 3 casts of children that are playing 3 different performances. So we've got 10 children, 10 adults in each cast, and the energy and effort and commitment and concentration that they're putting into it is just amazing, and they're creating some beautiful stuff.
And you don't do things in the normal way, do you, Larry Waller? You don't just set up some chairs in front of a stage and say, sit there and watch that stage over there. You could, I could quite easily foresee you putting a stage in a loft one day or on a stairwell. Tell us about how the staging is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that my experience of this building is I've got a massive amount of respect for the Strott Centre in terms of a potential place to put theatre on, and the hall's wonderful. My experience of it is vast. I've done loads of shows here, but my favourite, I have to say, is in the Round. I find it a fantastic way to work in this space. And it's a Victorian building, so let's give a nod to the building, because we're doing a play which is a Victorian story. So I think that's fantastic. But the way we're doing it in this setting, slightly different. It's a thrust stage, audience all the way around 3 sides. And it's going to be different. And it's good for, I think, actors to get in the middle of it. And that's what I think is very exciting. Particularly with Hamp. I mean, you were in Hamp. Nell Gwyn and Hamp. But you know that experience. You know what that's like.
I do, yeah. I've been on the receiving end of your direction.
You say it as if I'm the devil incarnate.
Not at all. Not at all, Larry, no. So, Paul, what's it been like working with Larry again? And how's it different to some of the other productions? The experience.
Well, I'm not just sucking up to it, but I love being directed by Larry. We had, and he won't mind me saying this, the first production that we worked on together was Nicholas Nickleby, and that was a bumpy ride. We were all cutting our teeth on something huge. But then straight from that, I went into doing mind games with him, and then I was hooked into Larry as a director. And I enjoy the process. I enjoy that he does. You keep saying he's quite, he's strict. He's not. He knows what he wants, and that's what it's about. It's creative mind knowing what it wants, and he wants to get the best out of us. So at times when it feels like he's on your cases or he's in your face, when you reflect back on that, you think, that's why we're doing that. That's why he pulled me out. That's why he picked this up, because you know that at the end of it, you're going to give as an actor your best you can give in that situation and in that production. And every production's, they're all different because they're all different stories, but in the same sense, they're all very similar because of Larry's directing style and the way Larry works with his actors. And he's not, he has got an end vision, but that evolves along the way. I mean, talk to anyone, and particularly Caroline doing props, and how these things evolve along the way. The start of it was one thing, and this play has evolved quite a lot since it's starting, and that's what makes it exciting. And I think, and this is the first time I've worked with so many children and Larry, and I think that's been great. And having the 3 troupes, because every Oliver brings out a different Fagin, and every Artful Dodger brings out a different Fagin, because the way they act, you react in a different way. For example, our female Artful Dodger, when Fagin gets aggressive, she just drops to the floor and goes into the fetal position. So she's there, and there's nothing coming back. One of the male Artful Dodgers, he thrashes about like a wet fish on a boat, and you're trying to catch his arms and you're trying to pin him down. And so every time it's a different troupe of children. It brings out, not just in me, but in all the actors, all the adult actors. It brings out a completely different set of performances, I think.
Well, we're all really excited about the end product. Larry, just give us the key important information into that camera just there.
Okay, OliverTwist. Not the musical, as Luke tries to tell us time and time again, because I keep saying Oliver. He's on from the 11th till the 15th of December at the Strott Centre. You can get tickets online on the Captive Audience website, or you can contact through Paul Shop time and again. There's a telephone number you can contact us on. And at the moment, we're at about 60% ticket sales. So we've got about 40% left. So there's lots of tickets to be had. So come along and enjoy it. And it's something you will never have seen before, ever. I can promise you that.
Okay. Well, that's a fact, isn't it? Because you haven't had the show yet.
In
Obviously.
the way it's being done.
But Paul, final word to Fagin. Give us a inner character.
Buy your tickets or I'll send the boys round, all right?
Ooh, well, I'm scared. This is Derbyshire Arts Word. Thank you to Paul and to Larry and for all of the cast and crew here of OliverTwist. And we really look forward to seeing as many of you as can make it in December.
Derbyshire Arts Word.
Derwent Valley on demand.